Hey, what is good, good people? It is Jay Glass, the movement, and I just to give an update on nephew Nolan Wells. I was in the middle of filling out an application to adopt another cat while reading um, headlines, as it were. An article came through. Actually, two of those articles came through, and I just wanted to make sure I did my due diligence and keep everybody updated, and informed about what it is we're seeing in real time. Give me 1 second, everybody. All right. And listen, this is America. This is America, and there are multiple different things that happen in cases when it comes to uh, black bodies, not just in America, but specifically in southern states, right? And so I want to make this clear. There is already a move and push, and we see it, to discredit information that is being highlighted. The Crump family, not the Crump family, the Wells's family, Nolan Wells's family, just as a uh, just as a an example. And this is something that Ben Crump actually spoke to while he was doing an interview with Don Lemon earlier today that I was watching. And there's a highlight that's saying Ben Hudson, the father of Warren Hudson, described as one of Nolan Wells's closest friends, which we've got to get away from saying. We've got to get away from calling these young men Nolan's friends, because I don't think we can directly assert that at this point, right? We might have to redefine, or actually define, what a friend is. But anyway, it says Ben Hudson, the father of Warren Hudson, described as one of Nolan Wells' closest friends, whose mother is a judge, said his family plans to sue attorney Ben Crump for defamation. What a friend. What one hell of a friend, right? It's an odd thing to me. Now, Attorney Crump directly spoke to that, and he didn't he pushed it off. And I think he actually handled this with a great understanding of letting people know that that's a distraction, a distraction in the pursuit of finding justice for Nolan Wells. People who have nothing to hide nothing. People who have nothing to hide nothing. And all we, unfortunately, are witnessing at this point are people hiding things from the state. It don't feel right. It don't add up. Um, and we've got to get to the bottom of this. Every father, every mother who has a child out there, if this happened to your child, you would pursue justice. You would pursue truth to see what happened with your baby, right? Benjamin Crump has already come out and say, and he spoke for the family when he said this, whether this can either exonerate or incriminate somebody. Either way, you let the chips fall where they have to. You let the chips fall where they may, but justice has to be served. Things have to be highlighted. The information needs to come out. And I know as a part of the population, we want things to happen fast sometimes, and sometimes we don't feel like we're getting information as soon as we can or what we need. But these processes do take time. We do have a lot of questions. There are things that could have been that we feel could have been shared uh, that haven't been shared. You know, we all have our opinions of the issue, right? And as a person who's online also and just trying to bring people together to talk about issues, we do try to stay away from speculation. Oftentimes we give opinion, but we make sure that that opinion is separate from fact. We present facts. We read the information that we get, and we present it, and we go from there. Now, this is one of the articles that I'm about to share that recently came out that I panned across. And the topic is Nolan Wells' family says experts are reviewing emergency call made from boat that took teen to remote island. On my previous segment of The Pulse, we played and had the transcript of said call that was released. So I'm going to I played two different versions, as a matter of fact. The first version that I played was an enhanced audio version by Janetta Brantley, who did a phenomenal job at it. So we played that, and then we played the call that went directly to the agency CETO that was released. Was going on, Rich? And now the other article that I'll read will highlight some of the things that I just said about how people are already trying to position and maneuver to discredit these things. Another position that the media has tried to take, unfortunately, is highlighting Nolan drinking. Now, I don't understand why, and maybe Rich, you can weigh in on this part. I don't understand why it's only been highlighted that one person was drinking when he was with a group of people that were more than likely drinking or had some form of drug activity. It's always a maneuver to discredit Black bodies that were victimized or end up dead, instead of placing a position, a highlight of humanity on them, as well as understanding that there's a father and a mother that's seeking justice for their child, regardless of who it exonerates or incriminates. What you got, Rich?
Can you do me a quick favor?
Yeah.
Can you catch me up on what you've already informed everyone so far? Because
Yeah.
I want to make sure that what you've heard is somewhat similar to what I just heard.
Yeah, so I haven't really said too much about the articles that I'm going to read. I was just on a bit of a soapbox talking about how, yeah, there's always this play in America and even in southern states right now in this specific situation, Mississippi, where when there's Black bodies involved, there's there's a criminal element that always has to come out to discredit who those people were.
So I'm just going to say you're right, and I'm gonna get my thoughts together.
Yeah.
Because you said that there's always an attack on a Black man's character or a Black woman's character when they have a mysterious death, if that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said an attack on their character, and that is either drugs or alcohol or criminal record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, criminal record. And they haven't accused Nolan Xavier Wells. They haven't accused him of rape yet, have they?
No, not that I know of.
Not yet.
Because that's also an element in a lot of different cases.
So there's no accusation of, I'm sorry. So there's no accusation of sexual assault yet.
Not that we know of. Not that I've seen just yet.
Has there been any allegation that Nolan stole anyone's property?
Not that I've come across yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. But we wouldn't be surprised.
I'm good.
We wouldn't be surprised if these narratives end up coming up to mar and dehumanize the life and legacy and potential future of this young man.
All right, I'm gonna let you keep going. It's your show. Because that dehumanize word and defame, I'll just say this as quickly as I can. Lynn said we were on part 5 Wednesday night. I'm gonna give Lynn his credit. So can we call this today part 6?
This is the precursor. this is like the clips into the next segment.
So we're not into part 6, but we're on our way to part 6 from part 5.
We're transitioning into part 6. Earlier today, it was noted, it was said that the autopsy from the state had been completed, but has not been released publicly as well. And so hopefully by Wednesday, we'll have more information on that. But
I heard something different.
What'd you hear?
Okay. So they announced it was completed today. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because this is, you caught me up early in the morning, so I'm not emotional. So
yeah, you 3 hours behind me.
So I'm gonna be very straightforward because this is confusing. So the Jackson County autopsy was announced that it was completed today.
Yes.
So could it have been done yesterday, but announced that it was complete? Because I heard yesterday it was done, but they was going to announce it today. So
that's possible as well. Yeah.
Okay. So today is 7/31, July 31st, from Jackson County, and I heard. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Don Lemon talked to attorney Ben Crump this morning. Ben Crump says that they're going to talk about the report, but he says that Jackson County has the power to either release it or not release it, and that's going to go to the grand jury.
Yep.
I don't know when it goes to the grand jury. I don't know if they've already. I'm sorry. Continue on.
Oh no, because I'm there with you. Because again, I was left when it came to that aspect of the interview. I was left with more questions than answers when it comes to the state releasing the autopsy, because as far as what I can remember, and we'll do some more digging into this, but they're going to keep it sealed until it gets to the grand jury. The grand jury will be able to review it, but they're not releasing the contents to the public right now.
Okay. So I want to make sure, because Lynn is busy working, running his business. He just sent us something. The Nolan Wells state autopsy complete. Heads to grand jury. So I'm going to click on this real quick while you're going through yours to see if what you have is the same exact thing as what Lynn just sent. Oh God, he sent it in the Smart News. Oh man.
Oh, okay. I'll pull it up.
Okay.
So I'll pull it up and I'll read this also. And usually I share, but I'm reading this off of my phone and I don't have it on my computer. So this coming from the Atlanta Black Star. Nolan Wells' state autopsy complete. Heads to grand jury as friend's attorney says viral enhanced audio was doctored. That's going to be another article that I read about the audio. Yep. So
you just jumped me.
Yeah, but
I was just writing down yesterday what. Okay, I know where I'm going. Yeah. You know where you're going. Hopefully, we'll end up at the same destination. Okay,
and I think we will. So this is another article that was just sent by another panelist, by Lynn Medeiros. If you have any life insurance needs or questions, make sure you look up the Medeiros group. They are amazing. Shameless plug for family always. So this article from the Atlanta Black Star says Nolan Wells' state autopsy complete. Heads to grand jury as friend's attorney says viral enhanced audio was doctored. The investigation into the mysterious death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells has entered another critical phase after Mississippi officials completed the state's official autopsy, clearing the way for the case to eventually be presented to a grand jury. Authorities have not released the findings from the state medical examiner's office, and investigators continue to keep the results under wraps while the Jackson County Sheriff's Department completes its investigation. Once investigators finish their work, prosecutors will present the evidence, including the autopsy report, to a grand jury to determine whether Wells's death involved any criminal conduct. The Jackson County District Attorney's Office has previously stressed that taking this case before a grand jury is standard procedure for suspicious or unexplained deaths and does not automatically indicate a crime occurred. The latest development comes as attorneys on opposite sides of the increasingly high-profile case battle over a viral audio recording that has fueled widespread speculation across social media.
I'm sorry, could you read the beginning part of that sentence about when they send this independent autopsy? When they send the Jackson County autopsy to the grand jury, you said something about possible criminal. They didn't say for sure.
It said the Jackson County Attorney Office has previously stressed that taking this case before a grand jury is standard procedure for suspicious or unexplained deaths and does not automatically indicate a crime occurred.
That sentence right there is what I've been yelling about for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm Lynn Medeiros. I believe that a percentage, I feel like I'm Stephanie Medeiros, I guess I'm just all over the place, that a certain percentage of Black America, and maybe white America too, I'm not sure, or all of America, has been led to believe that after that press conference that Ben Crump did a couple weeks ago, that once all the evidence was put together, they was going to submit to the grand jury for an indictment. That's how I believe I interpreted that particular press conference. I believe that's how I know that's how I interpret it. If I interpret it incorrectly, then someone can, make comments and say, no, you misheard him. I was led to believe you're putting all the evidence together. It's going to the grand jury for an indictment, that there's going to be some type of criminal charge, but I could be wrong.
There's not necessarily going to be a criminal charge. There's just going to be information presented to see if we get there, to see if that's one of the things. Because again, as we've been stating on the Pulse, currently the death is considered a drowning, and that's it. That's it.
Well, I thought, now this is what Lynn Medeiros said. I feel like I'm a reporter and an advocate. He said, Sheriff John Ledbetter said, it doesn't look like any foul play, but the investigation is still going.
It's ongoing. Yeah, and that's paraphrasing, right? Yeah.
Right. So when people said that he said that it was just an accidental drowning, and I said, why did he say that so fast? Lynn corrected me and said, if you look at his exact statement, he said, it looks like there's no foul play. It could be an accidental, but the investigation is still pending. But if you listen to all the news media, independent and the big boys, CNN, ABC, NBC, they're saying that, quote, it was an accidental drowning.
Yeah, and they're saying that now because that's all they have to go off of. They can't definitively say anything else because it is a pending investigation. And so saying that it's something else right now would essentially position them to be sued.
All right, so while you're talking, I'm gonna try to look up his exact words.
Okay.
Because that causes confusion.
It does. And so I'm going to go through this article, the first article, and then I'll go through the second article, the third article, because now I just read an article. This will be 3 different articles, right? We're just trying to make sure we get all the facts, all the information that we can to present to all of our viewers. So this article, I'm getting this from MSN. Nolan Wells' family says experts are reviewing emergency call made from boat that took team to remote island. As a reminder, on our last podcast, we played the audio from two different sources. Just so when you have time, go back and listen to that. So this article says lawyers for Nolan Wells' family say they plan to review audio from an emergency call made from the boat that carried him to Horn Island on July 4th. It gives you what you need to know. Lawyers for Nolan Wells' family said they are retained expert to review an emergency call placed from the boat that took him to Horn Island on July 4th. Wells was found dead on the barrier island off the Mississippi coast 2 days later. Wells' family is awaiting the results of his official autopsy, which they announced today, while their attorneys and Jackson County officials conduct separate investigations into his death. Lawyers for the family of Nolan Wells, who disappeared during a 4th of July boat trip to Horn Island off the Mississippi coast and was found dead there 2 days later, said they plan to review audio of an emergency call made from the boat that brought him to the remote island. The recording, released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources and obtained by WLOX and other outlets, captured a call placed around 4 p.m. local time on July 4th to the private marine towing company, Seato, hours before Wells was reported missing by his mom and one of the friends who had been with him that day. The audio has fueled online speculation about what happened to Wells and that his friends, which I cannot continue to call them, and others on the island were doing before his body was discovered. During the call, a young man told the dispatcher that he and several others were at the west tip of the island and their bilge pump stopped working, causing the boat to sink. We have the audio from the officials, and we have retained and are consulting with some of the foremost audio engineer experts to review those audio tapes from the Seato call in its entirety, civil rights attorney Ben Crump said during a news conference on Thursday, July 30th, at the National Urban League's annual conference in Tennessee. Wells, who would have turned 19 on August 19th, had traveled to Horn Island with friends but did not return with them. Some of those friends have alleged he chose to remain on the island, which is only accessible by boat, to talk to a girl he had met. However, his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, have publicly questioned those accounts, saying it would have been out of character for Wells to separate from the group. Wells' parents have questioned why he would have chosen to stay behind without his cell phone, which his mother has said she later recovered through a locator app after he was reported missing. Some of Wells' quote-unquote friends have said he left the phone on the boat, which later experienced a pump issue to keep it from getting wet. On July 6th, the same day Wells' body was found, Jackson County officials said they did not suspect foul play, which is what we were just talking about, and believed he may have drowned. The investigation remains ongoing, and the results of the official autopsy have not been released. Last week, Crump released the preliminary findings of an independent autopsy, which listed Wells' cause and the manner of death as undetermined pending further investigation. The report described a red discoloration on the back of Wells' head, the source of which could not be determined. The autopsy also noted that some of Wells' throat structures were missing. Dr. Roger A. Mitchell Jr., the forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy, wrote that he assumed those bones had been retained by the pathologist who conducted the initial autopsy for additional evaluation. Dr. Mitchell reported finding no fractures or deep tissue injuries on Wells' body. Crump's legal team has launched its own investigation into Wells' death and commissioned the independent autopsy on the family's behalf. We are not trying to cast aspersions on anybody, Crump said. We want the truth. At Thursday's news conference, Wells' parents renewed their plea for anyone with information to come forward, urging potential witnesses not to be afraid. In the meantime, they vowed to continue seeking answers despite what they described as efforts to distract or discourage them. Please understand that all these distractions, these other questions, attacks that people have sent our way, just know we will not be distracted, she said. We are ready to do whatever we need to do as his parents to continue advocating for him because Nolan is not here. He is not here to speak for himself. He is not here to tell us what happened. We will not rest until we get answers. And then it's a quick deal. Jackson County District Attorney Angel Myers, I don't know how to pronounce her name properly. I don't want to jack it up.
McGrath.
Yeah, McGrath has said a grand jury will review Wells' death once the investigation is complete, as it's standard practice in the county for deaths that are not from natural causes, which is an odd sentence. The grand jury will be determined whether an indictment is warranted. Eric Kurtz, another attorney for Wells' family, said Thursday that McGilrath indicated she was willing to listen to some of the evidence we have. Hurt said the family had come to a tentative agreement that the district attorney to have experts from both sides jointly examine Wells's phone and other phones that are involved in this situation. And that's the long and short. McGilrath did not immediately reply to a request for comment Thursday. So I just also want to say that the parents of Nolan have subpoenaed records from tech giants in order to track footprints, as it were. So that's about to be a thing also. I just wanted to throw that out there. And shame on anybody who has decided that making threats towards this family during this time is the thing to do. That's less than being a coward. That's less than being strong and tough.
What, attacks on Nolan's family or attacks on the boys' families?
Well, actually, it's both, because none of the families at this point should be getting attacked. We just want the truth.
Right. And full transparency. A person here in Sacramento was arrested for making a threat on Judge Ashley Cole and her family, and we don't condone that.
We do not.
Okay. We want to be, fair.
Yeah. We do not condone that. So were you able to find
they've got me going to all these different things, and they're talking about what he's saying now. I want to go back to what he initially said. So I was trying to go back in our group text to what Lynn had said about Sheriff John Ledbetter on July 6th at 8:46 in the morning when Nolan Xavier Wells is found. And I want people to understand something. We may not be perfectly right. We may not be perfectly wrong. And I want to give credit to all the people on social media. Some things I have locked down in my head, Mr. Glass. Some things. But to lock down this entire story when we're only on part 5 of a part 10 Netflix series and all this information. So, but here's the thing that I was writing down that I have to say. That pool party, remember I came on, I said you have to attack that pool party. You have to destroy all the credibility of that pool party. So they said the pool party was June 27th, 2026. This is how I say this. According to Warren Hudson, when he went on Officer Brandon Tatum's podcast, okay? That is locked in my head. He said that party happened on June 27th, 2026 at his friend's house. But he wouldn't say the friend's house. I said, you have to attack that pool party, okay? Then he says there was another pool party on July 4th at one of his girlfriend's houses, okay? So when we were talking on Wednesday night, and I said to Lynn, was he on that boat, possibly passed away? Or was he at the pool party, then on the boat and passed away? So then, I said, well, Lynn, you're going to say you can't have it both ways. And he laughed. All right. This is something confusing going on. But that pool party, I think, is vital. And I think it was on July 4th, 2026 at somebody's house. And there was a bunch of people there. Ironically, Bart Edmiston was at that pool party. Ironically. Second part. So you got to attack the pool party. And they did a good job of attacking the credibility of that picture. That CTO, remember on Wednesday night, I said you should have never released that CTO video. And then y'all said, well, no, the Department of Marine Resources of Mississippi, they released it. And I said, they made a mistake. In my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So you have to attack that CTO. Well, who did the enhancement? A black woman in a same-sex marriage to another black woman. We coming for her neck. So when you talked about character, she had a criminal record. Oh, that's perfect. So we have to attack the pool party. We got to attack the CTO. Now, remember I said this is a funny thing because you have some white people who are standing up and saying this is wrong. And it ain't just Nancy Grace that has the national platform. So there's a white lady named Kimberly, if I'm saying her name wrong, Kimberly or
Kimbra
Lee. Okay. They're going for her. They're going for Biloxi Boy. Talking about they may sue him. Now, who came out swinging with all of his punches? First, it was Warren Hudson's stepmother, Judge Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
First, it was her swinging those punches. We ain't talking about it. Shut all the social media down. Next thing you know, Warren Hudson is on the couch talking to his therapist, Officer Brandon Tatum.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we never heard of Bart. And I guess the name Bart is like Bart Simpson. You can't shake it off. So now we hear about Bart Edmonston Jr. His daddy's a doctor working at the same hospital as nurse practitioner Christine Wansley. And for those who don't know, nurse practitioner, that means you got 6 years college education. Not just 4 for a registered nurse. You got another 2. Okay. Now, so Bart Jr. has come out with his lawyer, Russ Latino, saying we're going to start filing because you are defaming Russ's character. I've never heard.
Let me pause you right there because I want to jump into the article, because the article will begin to pick up on some of the details that are speaking to what you're talking to as well. So let me introduce this article, and we will, like Rich was saying, Nolan Wells is that's so tough for me to actually say. Warren Hudson's dad is the doctor.
No. Bart Edmonston Jr., his father is a doctor. Bart Edmonston.
We'll see in a second because it's
okay.
Yeah, because it's mentioned in this article. It's mentioned in this article. When I perused through, I saw a few names that jumped out. So this article is also from MSN, and it says Nolan Wells' friend lawyer says alleged enhanced CETO audio was doctored. Now I'm scrolling past his face slowly on purpose. Nolan Wells is a friend's attorney hit primetime TV to slam the enhanced CETO audio call that appeared to identify his client. Russell Latino, who represents Nolan's buddy Bart Edmonston Jr., told Chris Cuomo on News Nation he believes there's no legitimacy to the enhanced recording going around on social media, calling it a doctored audio paired with fake transcripts. Latino argued the transcript is used to convince listeners they hear words and otherwise garbled audio, dismissing the recording as unreliable. He also defended Bart, saying his client fully cooperated with investigators from the beginning and insisting there's no evidence tying him to Nolan's death. Latino also discussed the previously reported online accusations that have spiraled into death threats against the family, adding they're now considering legal action because people online think it's fun to play Clue with other people's lives. The interview comes the same day federal authorities announced the arrest of a California man accused of sending death threats to the Mississippi judge involved in Nolan's case, allegedly warning of a bomb package and promising blood and violence. Earlier this week, Latino sent a cease and desist to online model Kimbra Lee, claiming she's been doxing Bart and making false statements about him online. He's been in Bart's corner since he recently lawyered up after speculation started circulating over a viral photo of him and a woman social media users believed was romantically linked to both him and Nolan. Bart was in the group of friends that went with Nolan to Horn Island on July 4th. According to Latino, Bart was on the boat back with the group when they called CETO. The lawyer claims Bart's only role on the boat was to help drain water when it started going down. And then it just asks if you want to see more. But go ahead.
No, here, I want to be real clear on this. Dr. Bart J. Edmonston Sr. is a doctor in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. That is the father of Bart Jr., who has filed this lawsuit with his attorney, Russ Latino. Now, that's a fact. Now, if Warren, you know what? And I think Lynn may be right. Warren Hudson's father is also a doctor. Let me look him up real quick. Hold on.
All right.
Because we may have 2 doctors in the house. And the Dr. Bart, he's let me see if I can say my word clearly before I talk about Crump and his word usage.
Well,
anesthesiologist.
Dr.
Bart Edmonston Sr., a medical doctor, board certified anesthesiologist in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I hope you can understand my English. All right. Now let me look up Dr. Dr. Hudson in, I'm going to say Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
While you're looking that up,
okay.
I just pulled this article up also, and I want to read it really quick.
All right. So, so ironically, Lynn Medeiros and Richard Lewis Brown are both right. There's two doctors. So Dr. Benjamin W. Hudson is a medical doctor in Ocean Springs. And I believe this is what Lynn is saying, that Warren Hudson's father is Dr. Benjamin W. Hudson. And so what I'll do is,
yeah, he offered the reward, and that's exactly what I'm about to read right now.
Okay.
Data friend on island with Nolan Wells offers $50,000 for information and insists we want to know what happened too. Let me move this over so I can see it a bit better on my other screen here. Okay. We don't know what happened, said Dr. Benjamin Hudson, whose son Warren was part of the group of friends who traveled to Horn Island for a party on July 4th. I won't go through the need to know because well, I will. Need to know. The father of one of Nolan Wells' friends is offering $50,000 reward for information about the teen's disappearance and death. We have been completely transparent from the beginning because we want to know what happened too, said Dr. Benjamin Hudson, the father of Warren Hudson. An official and independent investigation is ongoing. The father of one of Nolan's friends, Nolan Wells' friends, who went to Horn Island the day the 18-year-old disappeared after attending a 4th of July party, is offering a reward for information about Wells' death. Dr. Benjamin Hudson, whose son Warren was with Wells on Horn Island before the teen was reported missing and later found dead, is offering a $50,000 reward to anyone with information that leads to an arrest and conviction in connection with Wells' death, according to the Sun Herald and TMZ. We don't know what happened, Hudson's father told the Sun Herald. We have been completely transparent from the beginning because we want to know what happened too. He joins a number of public figures, including Reverend Al Sharpton, Tyler Perry, and retired NFL star T.O., who offered financial rewards for any information leading to the arrest of those responsible for Wells' death. News of the reward comes after court records and multiple news outlets reported that Wells' family may soon file a lawsuit related to his death. A notice about preserving evidence was sent to Wells' friends and some investigating entities, and warns that litigation is reasonably anticipated in connection with the 18-year-old's death, the Sun Herald reports. These are not my words, it's according to the actual article, folks. ABC News also obtained one such notice that was addressed to Ashley Cole, Warren's mom. Additionally, the family of the former teammate of Wells have threatened to file defamation suits amid ongoing speculation. According to Hudson's father, their family has received thousands of death threats since Wells' body was found near the northwest tip of Horn Island on July. In an interview last week with I don't even want to say this guy's name, with a commenter, Warren said Wells was among roughly 24 friends who went to Horn Island, located off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the morning of July 4th on 3 boats. Speaking with the Sun, Warren's father claimed that his son did not travel to the island on the same boat as Wells. Hudson told Tatum that he spoke to Wells a couple of times over the course of the party, but also spent a lot of time mingling with numerous other friends on the island. That afternoon, one of the boats that Wells' friends group had traveled in experienced an issue with its bilge pump. And that's where we begin to pick back up on the actual audio, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go too much into what Tatum said or did because that guy has entrenched himself in a place he doesn't belong. So that's where we are right now. That's the information that I've come across. That's the information that I have. And we'll continue to follow this. Rich, what you got?
I think this is interesting. And that's correct. So Lynn's correct. Dr. Benjamin W. Hudson is the father of Warren Hudson. That's very important. This is a married. He's a doctor, emergency doctor. Listen to how I say this. He's an emergency doctor in Ocean Springs. When you get shot and you go to the emergency room, you want a good doctor. Dr. Benjamin Hudson in Ocean Springs, in this little town, is your emergency doctor. He's carrying a lot of weight.
Yeah.
He's carrying a lot of weight and prestige. Oh, wait a minute. His beautiful wife, because I'm not, I'll just tell the truth. You look good, you look good. Judge Ashley Cole looks good. Whether that hair is blonde and true or blonde and highlighted, it doesn't matter. She's a pretty white woman. She is married to the doctor. So they got status. The background on her is she was officiating before she married Dr. Benjamin Hudson, the father of Warren Hudson. She was officiating the divorce between the doctor and Warren's mother, Bertha.
No.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, that's what's being reported. Listen how I say this. This is what I'm being led to believe. This is what I'm being led to believe. Okay. Now, that's just on a side note. But the fact is, Dr. Benjamin W. Hudson, highly educated, a doctor, an emergency doctor, and he is the father of Warren Hudson, who sat down with Officer Brandon Tatum. But the other doctor, who's an anesthesiologist, oh God, let me get his name right, Dr. Bart Edmondson Sr. in Ocean Springs. He's the father of Bart Jr., who just lawyered up with Russ Latino.
Yeah.
Because that C audio toll is too provocative.
It's a lot going on in that. And
so they have to discredit that C toll call.
Yeah.
And because it was a black woman in a same-sex marriage, Janetta Brantley, a beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, her and her wife. Let's gonna be honest. We don't have to curse and say all kinds of curse words, but we can be honest about if you look good,
you look good.
Sisters, both of y'all look good. And Judge Ashley Cole looked good, and Katie McCormick, the pretty young white girl. And so I want people to understand something. If you're overweight, if your teeth are all jacked up, if you're not a pretty person in this country, you ain't getting a lot of justice. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's not right, but you ain't getting no justice in this country. No, you're not. Because I think about that Charlotte, the girl in the march in Charlottesville, the girl that was protesting against the marchers. She was just your average looking white girl. They didn't give her no love or respect, not from the Republican side or the Democratic side. So back to this case. Nolan Xavier Wells is a handsome young black man. His mother is very beautiful. Father is a handsome black man. And now you got all these handsome people who are in power, who are highly educated. I want to go to the grandfather for a second. We got his name. Jerry, oh God, let me get his name right. Ackerson. Let's see if we can spell his last name right. I think I wrote it down.
Ackerson.
A-D-K.
Is A-D?
A-D. Jerry Ackerson. He's a man of power and wealth down there. Now we can say for sure that, well, wait a minute. Now we can say for sure that at least one of the boats that we think Wyatt was the one making a phone call to Cito. Wyatt Pyron, P-Y-R-O-N. That's a unique last name. If you ever meet a black person named Pyron as a last name, you know their plantation owners came from Mississippi, right down there. Okay? So Wyatt Pyron, we think that his brother is Eric Pyron. That's what we think. That's what we're thinking. But we know the grandfather of Wyatt Pyron is grandfather Jerry R. Adgerson.
I'll be available for Elmore to play his role.
We have to know what celebrities have played these beautiful. That's right. He's being consistent, so I can't say that. He's being consistent. So he said, you said we're not at part 6. He says a 10-part series. I think it's going to be some overtime, but that's just my personal opinion.
Oh, it's got to be. This is not going to be something that is going to have the door closed on it within the next few months. This is a continuation for sure. This is a continuation for sure. But go ahead.
Wait a minute. God, I'm trying to this. So when Lynn Medeiros made the comment that all this stuff is just going through all these different motions, he's right. He's right. Okay. She's been married to Dr. Hudson for much longer. There's no way she officiated her husband's divorce. That's not true. That's not what's being reported. That's not true. And I don't have the information in front of me, but she was involved in that man's divorce before it became a divorce because they wanted her to excuse herself and she wouldn't do it. That's not true.
I mean, it's not hard to go and look up.
Yeah. So when we're trying to do all this information, that's why on certain things I'm real strict on. And then I say, hey, this is what's being reported, but I'm not putting my foot down on it. And you notice how when I said that about her, somebody came in right away to jump on that. So you can almost see that certain things I say, if I see just the slightest thing wrong, Lynn's going to correct me, or someone from the Three Innocent White Boys, they're coming. Because all these podcasts are being watched. And I'm not afraid of being sued. Or, because I've been sued. I've been in court. And I'm still in court. And I'll fight to the very end. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Let me go back a little bit, and I want to show and share this so we can look at what Sheriff John Ledbetter said. This article, I just want to show this also, the date of this article, right? This is the July 9th article that we had been looking for that gives the transcript, essentially the words that Sheriff John Ledbetter said surrounding these events. And the friends left Horn Island and went back. Well, let me start at the paragraph before. Wells went missing on the 4th of July after going on a boat trip with his high school friends to the popular undeveloped Horn Island just south of Ocean Spring, Mississippi, according to officials in Crump. The location is accessible only by private boat and doesn't have facilities, drinking water, or staff. The friends left Horn Island and went back without Nolan. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter said, "From what we understand, he chose to stay there." A body believed to be Wells was recovered Monday, officials said. One of Nolan Wells' friends who went boating on Horn Island on the 4th of July was the first to report him missing, Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter told ABC News Thursday. That friend contacted the Coast Guard around 11 p.m. that night, Ledbetter said. Separately, Wells' mother contacted the sheriff's office about her son around midnight leading into July 5th. Authorities said they believe Wells drowned and don't suspect foul play, but the sheriff's office stressed Wednesday that investigators are working diligently to determine exactly what occurred. And then it goes on to talk about Benjamin Crump. But as far as Sheriff Ledbetter, those were his actual statements, the statements that he gave during that time. And I just wanted to
we don't. Authorities say Authorities say they believe Wells drowned. They believe. That's why people keep saying drowning, but don't suspect foul play.
Yeah.
But then.
Sheriff's office stressed Wednesday that investigators are working diligently to determine exactly what occurred.
But initially, what he said wasn't the same as what they're saying now. So initially, he said, "Oh, it was an accidental drowning. We don't suspect no foul play." Notice how they don't talk about his exact words because that's going to be used in court. That's why they do that kind of stuff. So sometimes go ahead.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And so what I'll do is by Wednesday, I'll make sure we have that actual YouTube conference, right? With that way we can go in and look at what was actually said and be able to directly verify what he said.
And let me address Kiana. Oh gosh, I know I'm not saying your name right. Don't worry about 2022 versus 2002. It's easy to when you're typing real fast. What's been reported repeatedly here, I'll say this to Kiana, to the young lady. What's being reported as factual on Facebook, if they were saying something about Judge Ashley Cole and her ability to officiate or be involved in the divorce proceedings or the parent problems between Dr. Hudson and the mother of Warren Hudson, If that was an absolute lie, Judge Ashley Cole would have had you sued already. You would have been sued already. You would have got your cease and desist, and then you would have kept going saying that same stuff. You would have been sued, and they would have made it public record. So that's on that. So when people are giving their opinions, you know, when Lynn Medeiros says, I believe, or when people on Facebook says, my opinion, what it looks like, what the evidence points to, they're not saying that as 100% fact. So in other words, if I say, well, Jay Glass, I know 1,000% that you're a female and you're born in January of 2002. That's an absolute lie. I've just defamed you. And I know I did it openly. And I did it on Facebook. And I did it to where all your family and friends and the entire public can see that. Now, this thing about defamation, we can go back to Tasha K and then some other influencers who've caught holy hell. Because sometimes they said things that were too outrageous, that were not based in fact. But it's a little tricky on this situation because we're not being given any information. So everybody's left up to their own devices to come up with a lot. Listen how I say the words, Lynn Medeiros and Mr. Deuce. Logical, reasonable, which means, you know, call your lawyer and your friends and your family and get the help of the jury. Because when he announced on the CTO, Mr. Crump, you didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. So when it was a big deal, but I got an important announcement to make, we have the CTO video and we're going to do an investigation on that video. But you told us that same thing when you got the phone back, and Christine Wansley, the mother of Nolan Wells, got the phone back. You said we're going to do an investigation on that, and you never did. See, sometimes you can't blame the people who are attacking you for some of the things that you're doing incorrectly because you're making promises that you're not fulfilling. And so now you have the CTO. And if Janetta Brantley, that audio engineer, beautiful black woman, married to her beautiful black wife, if she hadn't stepped up and overcame her fear of attack, because what has happened now is she's so afraid, in my opinion, that her wife is on Facebook going through writing like 10 paragraphs defending her wife. I can't remember her wife's name, but she's defending Janetta Brantley. And she's showing you how they did the work. She's saying, this is the software my wife used, and this is what she did. And we did not try to alter or do anything that could be misleading. We're just trying to bring out what was in the background so you can clearly hear. And they did it so well that you have to come out to attack it. Because I thought that Bart Edmonston Jr. said he was out of town this whole time.
Oh, I got to look that up. I don't remember him saying that.
Initially, what was reported was he claimed he was never there. And then when they said, "Oh yeah, you were. You're on the boat. We just heard your name saying pull the plug, Bart."
Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely look into that because if that's one of the angles that's cause for trouble.
Well, look, I cannot tell you that I know all 100 parts that's being reported. And which parts are accurate and which parts are not. Not all 100. I can't tell you that. But I can count up to about 70. I can score about an 80 to 85 on what's being given after I read through all the information.
Yeah.
If you have to, remember when we thought, well, I thought, not you guys, I thought Warren may have done something, that he may have beat Nolan Xavier Wells on the back of his head and then threw him off into the water. I thought, but I don't have no evidence of that. Okay. There was so much pressure on Warren Hudson. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. They had to bring in Officer Brandon Tatum for him to sit down and tell his side of the story. He couldn't keep his mouth shut. I said, you should have kept your mouth shut. Your stepmother said, shut up. I got this. And then you still couldn't keep your mouth shut. No, Bart said he hadn't been in past Christian for a year. Then in response, someone said he was at a pool party, which occurred in Past Christian. No. Warren Hudson, hold on, listen to this. Warren Hudson said that pool party was in Past Christian, but somebody else did an investigation and said, no, those pictures of that house are not in Past Christian. They're in somewhere else.
So
I'm sorry.
Lania, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. If you have time to hop on and state what you're saying, you're
Absolutely.
more than welcome to hop on. And it's not
And
to
I'm not
bash you.
gonna
Yeah, it's not to
attack.
bash.
I'm not
We're
gonna do
just
nothing
trying
like
to
that.
yeah, because we're all
You know.
trying to get clarity. We're trying to get
Yeah.
information. We're trying to put the pieces together. And what I'm trying to do, even as I'm sitting as a bit of a moderator, I'm trying not to speculate too much. Last week, I think I said something that I thought might have happened, and I'll put that back out there so everybody knows I'm not immune to speculating or being passionate about this topic either. I think we all are, but to make things a bit even, Lynn and Steph have been a bit consistent, not a bit, but they've been very consistent with not jumping too far ahead of the curve and trying to make sure we wait for the information as it's presented, so on and so forth. Being patient while being passionate.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, I think we've all been consistent. I know I've been consistent.
We've been consistent.
Mr. Wig has been absolutely consistent.
Yeah.
About the cover up. What I'm saying is, Warren Hudson. A lot of people thought you were the killer, and you couldn't keep your mouth shut, even though your stepmother said that the boys wouldn't be saying anything, and that they deleted all their social media. Okay. And then he comes out later because the heat became so intense, he had to come out. They had to bring Officer Brandon Tatum down, to try to cool things out. And then once that audio got released by the Department of Mississippi Marine Resources, which to me, to my amazement, why would you release that audio? Why would you do that? So you have to attack the audio, but who was the biggest? Who had the most to lose from that audio being released? It was Bart Edmonston Jr. He had the most to lose. And that's why he lawyered up so quick. Because they got to shut your mouth down. They got to control. I'm sorry.
I'm looking at another article that's saying that Nolan Wells' dad doesn't recognize a man claiming to be his son's friend.
Trace, say the name for me, please.
I don't want to say the name because I don't know if that's the person that is talking about.
No, he's talking about Traceton Shepard, because Traceton Shepard said, we were good friends. We used to hang out. And then Elmore Wansley said,
yeah, it's Traceton
just
Shepard.
Because either he said these words, because I know Keanu Lee is watching, either he said it or Christine Wansley said it. Just because you park your car in our driveway doesn't mean we know you.
Yeah.
Those were the exact words that I have memorized, because that's reasonable. But here's the problem, because I'm not a boat person. The GPS off the boat. Now it's being reported that they can erase certain parts of, maybe not the GPS, but of the tracking, so you can't see everywhere the boat went. They said there's a way of the GPS tracking you, but there's also a way of eliminating certain things off that tracking system.
Well, yeah, it's all software, right? And if it's a coded software, it can be manipulated. That's the honest truth. When it comes to software programming, so on and so forth, the hard thing to do is to delete it, because you can never delete the footprint of any information that's been pushed out to the internet, but you can manipulate it. And that's when you got to get experts involved. When it comes to GPS information. So
I have a copy, because I know somebody's watching that has a copy of the MDMR. That should be Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, the Marine Patrol. And it has missing persons. It has the incident number, MP 2607-0016. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it is dated, oh gosh. It's dated on July 5th, 2026 at 10:05 in the morning. But they say the time of occurrence was 7/5/2026 at 10:05. But we know that's not true. We know that incident was reported the day before. Okay. And now they blocked out like addresses and stuff. Hold on, let me go back to the first one. And then it was received by Shay Smith, the officer, And they said the new tip of Horn Island, Ocean Springs. See, again, they're saying the time of occurrence was 7/5/2026 at 10:05. But we know that Cito was called the day before. We know that Cito was called the day before. Because remember, Warren Hudson, I have this ingrained in my head. Warren Hudson said, I'm so worried about Nolan being missing. I called Christine Wansley at 11:07 p.m. on July 4th. I have it ingrained. 11:07 p.m. on July 4th, Warren Hudson called Christine Wansley. Go ahead.
And so what I think we can do again is go back through the timeline, a bit more of a more detailed timeline sequence of events. We don't necessarily have to do it Wednesday, because by Wednesday we should have more information. But if we want to catch people back up to speed, either Monday night, Monday afternoon, or Tuesday, just to give a quick 25-30 minute outline of events and where we are, I think it's worth it. That way we can detail and differentiate between 11 o'clock, 11:07, who reported what, who was said to be where, because we got different details coming out, some information that's conflicting. And as we move along, we can continue to maintain a level of timeline for everybody. So there's no, we don't shift left and right, and we keep the details as they are.
But you know what the biggest detail is? If you're so concerned about your friend, why did the mother have to hunt down the phone through her best friend Tashima Hands? And why did the daddy have to hunt down the car keys to the car? Why?
That's the question.
Now here's the funny thing. What if it was a real accident? What if it wasn't premeditated murder or just murder? What if it was just an accident? They were fighting, and Nolan Xavier Wells just bumped his head on the back of something and died. And they freaked out and said, oh my God, he's dead? What are we going to do? You would think you would tell the truth and say, hey, Mom, Dad, Nolan, we were fighting and Nolan fell and bumped his head and it was an accident. It wasn't about race or anything. But if all of you are underage, well, who's going to be responsible for the drugs and the alcohol? Nobody knows. But as you said earlier, Mr. Glass, we were quick to point out, well, we believe that there's drugs and alcohol in the system of Nolan Wells. Well, if the autopsy from Jackson County is secret, because not even Mr. Crump knows what's on the autopsy, and I guess the autopsy includes a toxicology report, then how do you know there's drugs and alcohol in this system already? How do you know that? So the more you ask questions, when you're trying to cover up something in today's society.
Yeah, go ahead. So this is the email that we just received from, I want to pronounce your name correctly, Kiyahilani. I hope.
Oh, I know what she's. Hold on, I know what she's saying by this. She's saying that he says, I want you to know I love and been in Wyoming and not been in past Christian for over a year. So what she's saying is, if Warren Hudson is saying that picture is from past Christian on June 27th and Bart Evanston Jr. is in that picture, Warren's lying. That's what she's trying to say to us. Okay? Okay, it could be speculation on top of that. But remember, I argued about that pool picture with Lynn a couple weeks ago. I said, I think that pool picture is legitimate. And Lynn said, nah, there's too much helter skelter. This is all speculation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I wasn't about to say anything. I'm trying to find them out so I can pull.
Oh, okay. So, so I want people to know that when we do these shows, I don't have to overtalk someone or be so demanding, because this information is coming in. And when you go through every video all day long, if I was to save every video on every speculation, I wouldn't have a mind. So I try to save the most important ones. And I don't even send it to y'all in the group text because I don't want to bother y'all. I don't. because I want to vet this thing first through other sources, you know. But this past Christian, listen to this. We didn't even know about the name of the place that the June 27th, 2026 alleged pool party happened at. Now we know it's called Past Christian because Warren Hudson, why did he go on this Brandon Tatum show and say all this information? Because once you tell your lie, you got to be consistent in your lie. And even if you're thinking that you're telling the absolute truth, if you get caught into a trial and you're saying the same thing that you said on the Brandon Tatum show, a good lawyer will rip your head off. Unless you already have been told in advance through allegedly someone that this will never make it to the courtroom. You can go on this Brandon Tatum podcast, this controlled environment, and say whatever you want, and there will be no pushback. Unless you already have those reassurances. And in that case, well, then Warren Hudson played a great move. But here's the other trick, real quick. Warren Hudson, if you're so innocent, and you have to go on here to proclaim your innocence, after your stepmother, a judge said, we ain't talking about this. Why is your dad now coming out saying, I think we were at 125,000 from the Nolan Xavier Wells family. So now Mr. Dr. Benjamin Hudson says, you know what? 125,000 for a young black man? Not enough. I'll put up 50 more to lead to information to find out what happened to Nolan Xavier Wells. So now we're at 175,000. I don't know why we just can't go up to $1 million. Remember when I said that on Wednesday night? I said,
that'd be nice.
When y'all be upset, if Ben Crump did a secret settlement because there was no grand jury indictment.
Yeah, but I don't want a settlement. I'd like to see them get up to $1 million for information.
Okay.
Yeah, so the settlement would be hard for me to accept and take. I would understand it, but if it's worth, if their friends are all in and they're pushing with their families, push it up to $1 million. Make it worth something. So, but I gotta cut it there. This was a quick impromptu. Thank you for being available and hopping on. And yeah, we're going to continue to push forward. Anytime I come across some new information, if y'all are available and I'm able to, I'm gonna hop on and push it out as soon as possible, so we can continue to keep everybody informed and abreast of everything that's happening. So before we head out, I want to also again continue to advocate for life insurance, and go ahead and come to our residential experts, the Medias Group, for all of your life insurance questions, comments, or concerns. If you don't think you're in the right policy, they will be the people to get you there, right? They also have additional services in the form of trusts and wills. So make sure you go over there and check them out. Also, I need to make sure I highlight the Wealth Reimagined podcast with the People's Money Coach, Maya K, who's been given great information about financial literacy, freedom, so on and so forth. So catch her episodes with the Family Bloodline Network under Wealth Reimagined. Also, I would be remiss to highlight Mikey Famine and crew of the Ben podcast. Thank you all for always being available and participants. Mikey, I appreciate you, love you. And with last but definitely not least, my boy J.R. Jackson. I want to shout out J.R. Jackson, who is the host of The Watch List. So go to YouTube and look those two podcasts up, the Ben podcast as well as The Watch List, to make sure you stay well-rounded, well-informed, and become a better person from watching them. Thank you all for always hanging out with us, sitting with us, and listening to the information as we are able to present it. For any questions, comments, or concerns, hit us up at the FBL podcast at gmail.com. Always thank you and blessings.